Hello, friends. Welcome to a tradition like any other. Tonight, we're pitting the fiercest alien monsters together in a 16-team bracket tournament where in one shining moment, we'll crown the best alien monster in movies and television. But before we get to the brackets, let's check in on the camps that are hoping to make a deep run in this year's tournament. Covering Team Predator is Mike Wynne. He's coming to us live from Yauta Prime, the home world of the greatest hunters in the galaxy. Mike, Team Predator is once again one of the strong favorites in this tournament. And with high standards held from their legacy of defeating other alien monsters, is the pressure getting to them?
Well, Luke, when you talk about a complete competitor, Predator has everything you want in a top seed. The size is elite. The athleticism is off the charts. He can beat you with speed and transition, blitzing in invisibility mode, or he can grind you down in the half court with sheer physical dominance. That versatility alone makes him an absolute nightmare matchup. What we really love about Predator is his poise. Doesn't rush possessions, doesn't get rattled when the environment changes. He's adaptable. The technology is like having a deep bench, cloaking, plasma caster, wrist blades. This one's got an answer for every situation. The Predator is a Final Four monster. If you want to pick against him, good luck. But you better have a once-in-a-lifetime performance lined up because Predator does not hand out wins.
Confident words coming from Team Predator. Thank you, Mike. And now we turn to our Xeno beat reporter, Zach Hall, who's coming live from an abandoned Weyland-Yutani starship in deep space that's got 2 hours of life support left. Zach, you've been covering the famed Xenomorph squad since one of your fellow reporters. Oh, hey, there's Zach. There, we lost him. Okay, we can see
Sorry,
Zach. Thank you. No, we were worried we lost to the feed. You've been covering this team since one of your fellow reporters brought on a mysterious looking egg onto the ship, but now we know that Team Xenomorph is historically they're cagey with the press, not open to press. But have you been able to glean anything on what their strategy is for the tournament?
Well, Luke, I have to keep my voice low.
Okay.
Just to make sure I'm not caught, because this is going to be a long episode and I don't want to just, leave in the middle of it. It looks like what we got to do today is just stay low. That's one thing. From what I've been able, from personal experience, being able to glean, I would say that you want to make sure that you talk lower than what I was just doing. But also, I think from what I can tell, they don't go after the people with the blazers on, like, first. So wear a blazer. And I think what the Xenomorph strategy can really, really be beneficial, what the best strategy possibly is just to go as scary as possible. Just just scare the crap out of everybody. And then maybe they'll just poop themselves to death, and then they're good. So I'd say that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I'm just gonna hide under my desk for a second here. You take it away. Back to you guys.
Okay, that's it. All right. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
Zach,
I'm here. I swear.
You're here. Okay, just stay with us for the next hour segment. But thank you, Zach Hall. Thank you, Mike Wynne, for reporting in. Friends, there is so much to come. But thank you, gentlemen, for covering these two teams. Oh, Zach's still over with us. But
yeah.
folks,
Hold on 1 second. I just gotta close this hatch.
Okay, close that hat. Okay, thank you.
I should be good for a little bit here.
That was a very industrial hatch.
Yes, it was.
Judging by the sound of it.
Yeah. In space, you can only hear hatches.
Well, folks, we are just moments away from the start of the Alien Monster Bracket Extravaganza, and it's all the action, the intrigue that you would expect from these inhumane monsters in space. It's coming right up after these messages on Least Important Things. Welcome to a podcast called Least Important Things, a show about movies, friendship, and finding meaning in the most important of the least important things in our lives. I'm your host, Luke Ferris. In today's episode, yes, we are discussing alien monsters from movies and television, aka best non-terrestrial beast with limited cognitive functionality, who typically present as the villain in sci-fi. Joining me today to talk about these monsters from other worlds are the aforementioned Wynne and Zach Hall. Welcome, friends. Thanks for participating in that live Sports Center report on the tournament. You guys were great correspondents. I don't know if either were going to survive.
I just want to say thank you to Let for funding the travel.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big expense, but I think the quality reporting that you get from a beat reporter is bar none. It's you can't get it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. The per diem, from what I understand, of middle of nowhere in space is pretty high. So appreciate it. Thanks for the write-offs as well.
Yeah, speaking of that, where can I submit my expense reports?
You can submit. Yeah, I'll send you a form. That's a fax
are you
number.
Also,
actually.
HR, Luke.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop here.
Also, I was hurt during my reporting. Remember, I was doing reporting on the Predator.
Yeah,
so,
that's tough.
Is that workplace? Is that
workplace harassment?
OSHA?
Yeah, you might have to. I just want to know who's going to inspect it from OSHA. I don't think they're going to have to send an inspector for the inspector.
They don't have jurisdiction.
They don't. Gentlemen, thanks for joining. This is going to be a fun one. I'm excited to talk about it. I really like how, Zach, that alt title, you gave us that alt title for the best non-terrestrial beast with limited cognitive functionality who typically present as villain in sci-fi. But that's not, it couldn't really fit the title. It's not necessarily SEO friendly, so we decided to shift it. But I think that really is accurate to what we're going to talk about today.
I mean, we really had to dive in like very narrow here because it's such a wide category of things that we could actually put in this draft. So yeah, I mean, hey, I'm happy to help anytime. If you guys need something simplified or desimplified, you come to me.
Yeah. Anti-search functionality, you're the guy.
That's me.
Before we dive into the discussion, whether it's your first time listening or watching, thank you for watching and being part of the show. Please remember to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube so you don't miss any episodes every Tuesday. You can also connect with the show at leastimportantthings.com, email us at leastimportantthings@gmail.com, TikTok at leastimportantthings, and you can connect with me on Instagram at Luke H. Ferris or on Letterboxd at Luke H. Ferris. Mike and Zach are also on Letterboxd, so follow them. We have a Patreon where you can become a free member to receive email alerts when a new episode is released, video updates, exclusive conversations, and additional information about the episode. The same price as a cup of coffee or a pint, you can become a friend of the show and get the Least Important Things sticker for those watching on YouTube. Exclusive content and more special surprises to come. Supporting
Luke,
the show.
Have we hit the sign-up threshold in order to do a Twilight rewatch?
No, we haven't. So if you didn't know this, there is a Patreon member threshold. We need, I think, 60 members on Patreon, and if we hit 60. Mike,
40.
If we hit 40, he wants to do it. Mike will do a rewatch episode on Twilight with Shannon and Audrey. So that is a part of being a member. You could influence the programming of this podcast, and more importantly, force Mike to watch and talk about Twilight for 3 hours. Might be a two-parter. We'll see.
Oh gosh.
Most importantly, this is an independent podcast, and the best way you can help the show is by recommending it to somebody. So please, whether you're in the break room chatting to coworkers or on a top secret mission in the jungle hunted by a predator, please recommend Least Important Things. It's a great time to recommend a podcast when you're sleeping in darkness in the jungle, staring off into the trees, wondering what's hunting you and murdering your friends. I mean, what you got to talk about something.
That's what the aliens actually wants to ask you is like, hey, do you have any podcast recommendations? And then you just don't give him any. You keep running away. So he's just trying to,
he's looking for those wrecks. He's like, I got a long trip back to Yauta Prime, and I need some pod recommendations. What are the big Earth pods?
Yeah. Alien, on the other hand, the xenomorphs just want to kill you.
No. They're not here for potting. They're here for killing. All right, gentlemen, let's get the lay of the land of this bracket, what we're trying to do here, because it's pretty. I actually was talking to a former guest of the show, Luke Soldano, talking about this topic today, actually, and per Least Important Things, we're kind of making up the rules as we go along. So you're going to help me kind of define how we pick who's the best alien monster. But first, I wanted to really dive into why we're doing this. Obviously, there's so many great movies going on when we're talking about alien monsters, but specifically, there's a new Predator movie coming out, and it's called Predator Badlands, and it feels like it's going to be full of these type of monsters we're talking about. And then this past summer, we also had Alien Earth TV show. So I thought it was a perfect time to dive into the specific monsters from the other worlds. But how do we define, gentlemen, an alien monster? Because it's not necessarily a humanoid alien. It's not necessarily a monster on Earth. What is an alien monster? How do we narrow in this list?
I think that's where we
Mike
were
doesn't
initially getting walls. Yeah, and Mike was like very curious. I think when we think about it, it can be humanoid. It can be something that perhaps walks on two legs or is not something that is even recognizable as something on this earth or having been on like what we know of as animals or anything like that. But it has to have something twisted about it, something weird. Like when you take off the Predator helmet and what you see underneath that, what is that? It's a mess. Or it has to be something that's an abomination of maybe what we understand. That's how I look at a monstrosity and like that sci-fi aspect of it, that it could be, well, it's on a ship or it's on another planet. That's really what I'd say it is. I don't know.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And it's coming from the viewer perspective, because I think one of the things when we look at a lot of these franchises over time, when you have comic books and books and TV shows, sometimes they take some of these characters, which I think Predator Badlands is trying to do is, what if you were watching the movie from the perspective of the Predator? It's not Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. It's this alien creature that has a different society and viewpoints and culture. And I think that's what they're trying to do. So we're trying to look at it when these movies or these TV shows first came out. How these monsters are displayed are definitely villains. Like they are antagonists, whether they're intentionally trying to destroy the heroes of the story, or they're just there on the spaceship in the area. I think it can go into that moralistic view, and we'll talk about one of the alien monsters that I think is controversial with fans of whether they're really a monster or not. And there's a lot of them that play into there. Mike, what is your perspective on alien monsters? I want to bring you in.
I don't know, man.
He just got time in his head. That's
I just
all.
got time ahead for those
Look,
watching on YouTube.
I don't know. There's a lot of ambiguity. I'm glad that we kind of capped this because it can get out of hand real quick. And it's like hard because like, do you measure them by their like impact of like on filmmaking, or do you measure them on like most likely to win a cage match against the other? You know what I mean?
That's a good question. I think we were talking about that off air. To me, I don't want to necessarily have this be a cage match, even though there was a movie based on two of the main characters that was essentially a cage match, WWE. We could do that, but I don't think that's as more interesting of placing yourself as a viewer, as an audience, as a human character, because all these have movies and TV shows have human characters that are facing up against these monsters. I want to think about it as, what's the scariest or the most intense or the monster you wouldn't want to face if you were in that story? You could add elements of like, I think this is a really cool monster, because there's a lot of really cool monsters, but I think that should be our angle of going in to be like, if I went up to face one of these monsters as a humanoid, as a human, I would not want to. And that maybe is how we can judge which one is the best. Mm-hmm. You can throw a little sauce in there too if you have additional ideas.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it, because I'm just gonna be a little bit of a highbrow, like me bringing in from a movie perspective kind of guy.
Yes, do it.
That's what these monsters are really like representing, right? Like it's an element of human fear in some way, shape, or form that we can't really define. It's usually just like some type of idea or emotion, but it's actually defined as a physical being in these movies. That I think that's probably based off of what's the scariest or the most thrilling. That's probably the best way to rank, I think, as we go through this.
I like it. All right, let's move on to some honorable mentions because there's so many. Mike, do you have anything to add? By the way, Mike looks like I feel bad. Mike looks like we're like at an all-nighter party in high school, and he's like the cool like band kid that just like stumbled upon like the three nerds talking on like bean bags.
Cool band
Like
kid.
a locket. Yeah.
No, like you're in a band. Like you look like you're like the front man of Weezer. And like your ties on your head, so you've been partying hard. Like you're way cooler. And then Zach and I are in the corner talking about movies.
Yeah.
Sitting on beanbags and like sipping like ciders or something.
Nice.
Ciders. Yeah, come to our beanbag circle, Mike. It's cool here.
It's cool here. We're talking about monsters.
I'm happy to hang out here, man.
Wow.
The thing is, I'm misunderstood. Everyone thinks I'm the cool guy that's got it all figured out. Is going to this school, got the girl. Is in a band, but really, I just love aliens. And nobody wants to talk aliens with me.
But we're here. You stumbled upon us. We're ready to talk aliens.
Yeah, it's our lock-in night here. We support things. We got all night, so let's talk about it.
We got all night. That's a good idea. We'll do a lit lock-in.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, 8-hour episodes live stream.
Yeah, it's got to
subscribe on Patreon to get that. All right, let's move into some honorable mentions. We're thinking maybe this could be the play-in tournament. This is the like for they do it with March Madness in the future. You can do a play-in tournament, but we wanted to keep it to one per franchise because obviously some of these franchises have tons of alien monsters. So just to throw some out there, and Zach and Mike, please add to these. We got the Wampa, we have the Rank, or we have the Wampa, we have the Sarlacc, we have all the aliens in the Men in Black movies. I think they're all great. The Reapers from the Falling Skies TV show, that was a kind of before prestige television show. Zach,
you wrote that in, Luke, I think too. And I was surprised. I didn't know that you knew of these monsters.
Yeah, are you impressed? Yeah, Falling Skies. I was really into the first season and a half. It was right at the time of when Walking. I don't know if Walking Dead was out, maybe Mad Men. It was very early prestige. Mm-hmm. And is it Noah Wiley, the star of The Pit?
Noah Wiley, yeah. Oh, of The Pit,
of The Pit, yeah. It's an ER and a bunch of other television. He's in that. We have the graboids from Tremors. Now this is again tough because they're very much in the first movie. Just I don't think they mentioned that they're aliens in the first movie. I can't remember, but they're very much grounded literally in the Earth. But we don't necessarily think of them as aliens, but they are aliens. We have Critters, just Critters from the Critters movies. The Reavers from Firefly, who almost, Zach might protest on this one, almost made the tournament. They were probably on the bubble.
They were right there, man, and then they just
the committee took them off. They're a little more obscure, and they're a little too close to humans. That was their biggest. They didn't win their conference tournament, so that really hurt them from getting in the big tournament.
That's fair. I understand why.
They'll be in the NIT tournament.
Cool. It'll be good to see them try out.
Alongside Q from Star Trek Next Generation, Yerks from Animorphs, the Bioraptors from Pitch Black, the Weeping Angels, Cybermen, the Silence from Doctor Who. The list could go on.
Yeah. There is a Doctor Who that will make this bracket, and it's the one that we need on there, I think, to really differentiate from everyone else.
I thought this was limited to just film.
It's film and television.
Okay.
It's okay. You can still hang out with us. Do you want to lobby a protest to the monster NCAA?
No, they're useless.
He's like slowly backing out on his beanbag though.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna get. You guys want anything? I'm gonna go to the snack table. He sees like the popular girl walk by and like, oh, hey guys, I'll see you later.
At the end of this whole experience, this all nighter, right? Yes. My teammates or my bandmates come up to me and they're like, "What are you doing hanging out with these losers?" And I get up and I'm like, "Hey man, these are my friends."
And we're just sitting there quaking in our boots, just ready
to
beat
peed
up
yourself.
Yeah, maybe just a little pee.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pee for me. I appreciate this after school special we've made. The jean jacket from Nope is another one. The Color from The Color of Space.
These are
Any
all
other
mine.
ones? Yeah, those are Zach's added. Zach's
I've got
a
some-
real deep expert. You have some additional one, Mike's?
Well, not for film and television, but for video games. I feel like you left out two iconic video game.
Well, to be fair, I started
Monsters.
making this list and I felt highly incompetent.
I would almost say that like the list of alien monsters to honorably mention in video games could even surpass that of film and television. But two that aren't on your list that I feel like need to be, or actually one that's not on your list that needs to be, I think, mentioned, is the Locust Horde from Gears of War.
Okay,
which I don't know if you guys played Gears of War.
I knew there were aliens in Gears of War, but I wasn't sure exactly what their names were.
They're also
Yep.
down. They're from the down space, though, right?
They're down space,
They're
up
not-
space.
They're down.
They're down
aliens,
space.
but
Yeah, they're down space. But and then another one, you have the Flood from Halo, which I think is fair, but the Covenant is also.
Okay.
But
But are they monsters?
They're aliens.
Well, but are they? They're more of. Well, I guess they're enemies. But don't they become colleagues?
Yeah.
Arbiter.
Arbiter. Yeah.
We need Justin Felton to do the Arbiter voice. That's for you, Justin Felton, if you're listening. The Zerg from StarCraft, that's something. And then the Necromorphs from Dead Space.
Yeah.
I don't know what these words mean, but it's supposed to be video games. Any other ones that I missed for honorable mentions?
Ganondorf from Legend of Zelda.
I don't think he's an alien monster. Isn't he a wizard?
I don't know, man. I ChatGPT'd a whole bunch of other ones.
Kirby?
Kirby. No one knows what Kirby is.
Unknown.
There are
Unknown
long
entity.
YouTube video essays trying to understand what Kirby could be.
What is Kirby? Well, listeners, if we missed any and you're yelling at your phone or your laptop, please comment, subscribe, get on the Patreon, have some discussions. We'd love to hear ones we missed.
Text Luke. His number is
911. All right, gentlemen, are you ready for one shining moment? We're going to get our bracket kicked off. The 2025 Alien Monster Tournament. Here we go. Sponsored by Wayland Yutani. All right, gentlemen, we have 16 teams. We have two sides of the bracket, 8 and 8. If you haven't watched March Madness or you don't know what brackets are, basically, essentially, you rank the highest seed starts against the lowest seed, and it moves on, so forth and so forth. That was a horrible explanation of how a bracket works, but basically, everybody faces everybody.
You don't know how a bracket works. What are you doing here?
I don't know what you're doing. Okay, let's start out with our first matchup. We have the number 1 seed, the Predator from the Predator franchise, also known as the Yauta. That's pronounced different ways. I looked up a YouTube video. No one knows how to pronounce it. These alien warriors are driven by one thing only: the hunt. With advanced weapons, heat vision, and ugly mandibles, the Predator is the beast of all beasts. But a middle-aged man, human action hero, has been their kryptonite year after year. The Predator is facing our number 8 seed, the Harvesters from Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. The Harvesters don't give a damn about their reputation. These bad boys of the universe are here to destroy every world they encounter. They just need to be careful of Jeff Goldblum getting the right frequency to shut down their system. The Predator versus the Harvesters. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
So obviously the Predator being the top seed here, I mean, most people would say, let's just move the Predator on and move on with our days. But I
Done.
actually have an upset case
Ooh.
for the Harvesters. I'm not picking them for an upset necessarily, but I want to cast this out to you guys and see your thoughts on this. So the Predator is driven by a code of honor, right? It
Right.
does not target foes that it seems to be too lesser than itself. So by matching it up with the lowest seeded alien, is that actually maybe putting it into a complacency where, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying, but I think the Predators, it's about them not being violent. So like if they're not violent or they're dying, which the harvesters are not. But I understand the case. I think from a fear factor, obviously the harvesters are a mass quantity, right? Like they're bringing the bodies. They have a deep bench because they have large. Like if I was on Earth and I saw the spaceships coming, I would be very scared. But
Sure.
if I was in a small room or the streets of LA or in a jungle and the predator was chasing after me, I would be terrified.
Literally only those three environments, though.
Yeah, that's it though.
Yeah, I think I have to go with Predator too, mostly because both really good like pairing there between the two of these, because both of them in their first movies, you rarely see them in the movie.
Right.
But that's because the harvesters are like they like to hide in their little shells or in their little like big spaceships
things.
Whereas the predator's out there in the world actually stalking you and hunting you. I think that's why I have to go with the predator, because it is like it could be around any corner, behind any tree, right in front of you. You just wouldn't know it. I think that's why I go with predator in this matchup.
Another unknown, less scary, or not as popular as scare factor of the predator is the predator mimics voices, and I think that is really creepy. Of like mimicking children and babies.
But I deal with that on a daily basis because I live in a world of deep fakes.
True.
That's true.
And also harvesters can just stick their little tendril things up you and then make you
talk for you.
Work your vocal cords.
That's a good point. That's pretty scary.
It's a really good pairing, though. It's not like what Mike was saying, just not an easy number one seed moves on. I think this is really smart.
I think that what makes the predator the scariest for me is that how it's portrayed, the fear is intimate, whereas the fear with the harvesters is more like en masse. Like I'm obviously extremely afraid of the harvesters, but I'm typically not alone.
Right. I think that scene when they grab the scientist's throat is actually the scariest part of Independence Day as a movie.
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise, like Will Smith is dragging one across the desert and making quips like that. That would never happen with the predator outside of like commenting on its face. Which that we might bring that up later. From a looks factor.
Yeah,
I think the predator wins, but it's a battle. It's tighter than people think.
Do we vote? Is that how we move it on? Is best out of three?
Well, I'll go around the horn. Okay, Mike.
Okay.
Predator.
Zach.
Predator.
And it's predator for me. I'll be the tiebreaker here. Predator moves on to the second round. All right. Up next, we have a great matchup. So for those who don't watch sports and don't know brackets, the middle seeds are sometimes the best matchups. So the 4 and 5 seed, they're almost the same. So you're getting really good quality matchups in this slot. So at the number 4 seed, we have Shai-Hulud, the sandworm from Doom. It's the maker and the source of spice. It's Shai-Hulud. These sandworms are as big as a skyscraper and can swallow a mining ship in one gulp. The only downside to the sandworms is that they want to play home games and don't mind a passenger or two on their backs. They are faced up against the number 5 seed, the Arachnids from Starship Troopers. The spiders in space is a perfect description for these alien monsters. They're fast, creepy, and crawly, but they're also adverse to some action movie quips. Shai-Hulud versus the Arachnids, both insect-type alien monsters battling it out in the 4 and 5 seed matchup.
Your image that you picked for the sandworm just makes me lose all respect for the sandworm.
It looks like a cigar.
It's really tough to get a photo of Shai-Hulud. To be fair, you're only getting part of their skin or body, or their mouth. So that's they're not good at the PR. They're a humble program.
When it's out of its environment, it just looks like a tapeworm.
I know that this matchup in seed is closer than the one that we just talked about, but I actually think that this is a more lopsided win for my vote, which is the Arachnids.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yep. So I think it's a missed seed for the arachnids. I think that they should be actually higher because, and especially it's a matchup problem for me here because the Shai-Hulud, although terrifying, is more of like an awe that I have of them, not a fear.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Easy to evade. If you know what to do, either by dancing on the sand or running away when you do see one.
Yeah, if I can get away from something or like evade or mitigate my fear or risk by dancing,
Yeah.
that doesn't really drive fear through me.
That's true. And if you build your city with a big wall.
So it's just the arachnids too. It's not the brain bugs, right?
No,
From-
it's just the arachnids.
Okay, did want to clarify that before jumping in too far. I think having let Mike leading this off has changed my initial impressions because now I'm remembering the swarms of arachnids that would just take over.
Again, it's a
pretty much
numbers
anybody.
game, right? Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
a numbers game.
Yeah. And let's not forget that somehow these also are able to throw meteors at Earth,
That's right.
allegedly.
That's
as
right.
well as their form of terrorist bombing. So they are even aggressive towards mankind. They're not just like living in symbiosis with us. So yeah, I'd say arachnids too.
All right, we have two arachnids. I'm gonna say Shai-Hulud just because of awe. You know, the awe factor
Sure.
to me, awe and fear and respect are synonymous sometimes. But the arachnids with the 5 over the 4. Mike didn't like the seeding, but that sometimes happens. Sometimes the seeding is incorrect. Sometimes you get a Tom Izzo team at a 8 or 7 seed that's actually better than a Tom Izzo 2 seed.
Are you saying the arachnids are Tom Izzo?
No.
Fast on this?
That's please do not. Don't clip that, internet. Don't clip
Who
that.
does the clipping on this show?
Oh, I do. Oh, wait, I do. Our next matchup is the number 3 seed versus the number 6 seed. The number 3 seed is the Borg from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Resistance is futile. The Borg are a pseudo-species of cybernetic humanoids with a hive mind mentality and a horny queen leading the pack. They specialize in they specialize in adapting to weapons, but lack athleticism, more brute force. They're not moving quick. Number 6 seed, the Pod People from the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This is the 70s version, but if you want to bring in the other versions, you can. Beware of your green thumb. The Pod People are an invasive species that can take over other living organisms, especially if they've got 70s garb on. But their longevity is in question, especially if isolated from hosts. So we have number 3 seed, the Borg, versus number 6 seed, the Pod People.
Can I jump in here and hot take
Please
about
please.
the Borg? I feel like the Borg are seated pretty high here for what they are. I feel like they got seated because they just had a good season, essentially.
That's
just
right.
One
Yeah,
good
that's right.
season.
They had a good run. Once the Borg get a good run, they're tough to beat. But yes,
I think they had a good schedule, right? Their schedule propped them up, right? They're tied to a franchise that is really propping them up here, I feel.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. A lot of NIL money coming in, a lot of legacy, And to be fair, the Borg, they take over a lot of vulnerable populations. And it's really when they like first it's basically Jean-Luc or Picard. All it takes is Jean-Luc to be in their way and he's going to thwart them. So it's like one starship is really all it takes.
Yeah, I see this as an upset.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the thing that they take over vulnerable populations. That's actually even further point against them. But with the Borg, like they're pretty out in front, like you know what's going on. Like
That's true.
But the Pod People, like not only do you have no idea, but like you have to like you lose touch of reality and you lose your community as well. You can't trust other people.
It's terrifying. Yeah. I actually watched the 70s version for the first time, I think last year or the year before, and it was scary. Like it was it's probably one of the scariest movies on our list out of TV shows and movies. That's a great point.
Yeah. And I think it's even creepier for the Pod People because they don't have a organized leader like the Borg Queen would be. I think that's even or like any like they're so anti what we know as like what humanoid is, as well. They're just impersonating humanoid. In a lot of ways, there's other aliens on this list that are very similar in that way, but they they're just not good at it. And I think that, but they still are able to infiltrate like humanity. Whereas the Borg are just kind of like they're just collecting people. And I feel like there's a lot of other types of aliens that imitate the same Borg elements going forward after this too, and it kind of trivializes the Borg to me. I don't know. The pod people feel very original still.
Yeah, the Borg run a similar system that, everyone's going to play that system next year, and it's not really unique that way. They're just copying and pasting.
Stargate specifically had one that was like the Borg. I think they're called, maybe not mix, but there's something similar to that. And it just, I think that trivializes them a little bit to me. So
that makes
replicators,
sense.
They call them replicators.
There you
Same
go.
thing. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're unanimous. The pod people moving on. The first really biggest seeded upset so far with the 6 seed beating the 3 seed. All right. We're moving on to the last matchup on this side of the bracket. We have the number 2 seed, the Rancor from Star Wars. These giant cloud creatures are coveted by crime lords for their fighting prowess. But are they misunderstood cuddly buddies? The Rancor's size, strength, and bite radius are sure to put fear in the eyes of its opponents. Yet, do the Rancors even desire to be in the game? That's the number 2 seed Rancor versus the number 7 seed, the Clover from Cloverfield. You might get found out if you watch the game footage of the Clover. Its lanky's arms and growl send terror into cities, but the sequel probably won't give them a lot of playing time. We have the Rancor versus the Clover. The Rancor, this is the monster that I mentioned that is over time people have changed their viewpoints on it, and they see the Rancor as misunderstood, as actually abused, their slave animals, used in fighting, that they should just be left alone in their habitat. And this is kind of that conversation of alien monsters sometimes are misunderstood. And if you have enough properties long enough, it's not just a one note, this is a scary monster that Luke Skywalker is fighting against. It actually can change over time, and they can be allies, especially if you go into the video games and things like that. So that's again, we have to look at it as just like you're Luke Skywalker facing the Rancor. It's terrifying. But even in that movie, there is that element where his trainer gets sad. So I think it's a really interesting monster to talk about this genre of film and TV characters.
I think any monster that can become a mount for a protagonist kind of goes down on my list.
Yeah.
Rancor is that. In the video games, often I've seen him be something that you can ride. And then even in Book of Boba Fett gets on top of him.
Right. It definitely has diluted the character from the first time. But I would say that I understand where they're coming from because of that scene with the trainer crying in Return of the Jedi. It's like, oh, there was a connection there, or it wasn't just I'm fearful of this person.
I don't care about the Rancor-ness.
Ooh,
yeah. Me neither.
I love this. I love
like
this.
Clover here in a wicked upset. I think whoever seeded this bracket just did not understand.
Hey, it's a point system. The committee, it's all, we don't know what's happening there. The different athletic directors.
Athletic director for the Rancor was maybe the chairman.
Yes, I think so. I heard. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, the committee, and how all the point totals were evaluated. And sometimes it's about late season, peaking late in the season. So I don't really know. But all right.
Rancor didn't even win its conference.
Oh my goodness. The Clover wins in the big upset. I love it.
I do love the Clover. I really do see him going the distance here.
You see him going far?
Wow.
Yeah, he's actually set up really well in the bracket.
Yeah. So, even before that, I was like, oh, this is a side that this is easy. He's going to clean it. So I think there's going to be a big matchup soon with that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
All right. On the west side of the bracket is totally wide open right now. There are a lot of upsets. It's going to be interesting. Okay, we got to move on to the other side here. and we have the 1 versus the 8 seed on the opposite side of the bracket. If you want to see the bracket, you can watch on YouTube. We'll also post it on Patreon, so you can actually look at it and play along at home. By the way, we have the number 1 seed. No surprises here. The Xenomorph from the Alien franchise, the ultimate alien monster, characterized by its poisonous spit, a second mouth, and a terrifying tail. However, they are slowed down by their need to be birthed from a face hugger. Just a fun fact there for no one who's seen Alien. They are facing the number 8 seed, a surprise entry coming out of left field, the Mimics from Edge of Tomorrow. The Mimics are 4-legged fiends that know how to dodge and charge their opponents with ferocity. Their only weakness is Tom Cruise. So we have the Xenomorph versus the Mimics.
It's really hard to set up a monster if you say their only weakness is Tom Cruise.
I don't know. Every monster's weakness is Tom Cruise.
Oh, well, yeah. There could be another monster on this list who also fights off against Tom Cruise.
Here's the thing, Luke. I hate what you've done to the Mimics here. Because they deserve.
I'm not part of the committee. I have no idea how this happened.
The Mimics, if they were seated anywhere else, would be a good sleeper pick to go to the Final Four here in this bracket, because I love.
It's hard. They're in a mid-major conference. What can I say? That's just mid-major bias.
It kind of goes along with, like, if I'm more fearful of the Xenomorph because of how personal they are portrayed, how they are just. Yeah, I mean, that movie, the Sigourney Weaver, like, just it actually reminds me, like, my first encounter with the Xenomorph was actually not watching the movie, but was riding the Great Movie Ride and Walt Disney World's Disney Hollywood Studios, where you get on this car and it takes you through all these great movies and it's got all these scenes, and you actually are in the spaceship and you see Sigourney Weaver terrified holding a gun, and the Xenomorph is like hunting her down. I am personally, like, experientially afraid of the Xenomorph.
I think a lot of us who maybe grew up not in the peak of the first 2 releases of the movies probably just know it from pop culture and just seen it in moments like that. And it's the same thing for me. I can't really remember the first time I saw the Xenomorph or the Alien, and they always terrified me. I still think the most terrifying thing in the Alien franchise is the suit test from the first Alien movie that you can see on YouTube. It's just they're just doing a test, and it's not the finished version. It's like a V1 of the Xenomorph suit, and it is so creepy and haunting because it's just a shot in the corridor and a guy walking slowly in the same, more of like the shadow of the Xenomorph, and it's haunting.
Guys,
ooh,
I think I like Mimics more for this.
Oh,
I'm so close to saying Mimics.
Yeah,
wow.
I think
guys,
it's
it could happen.
It's a preference on your thrill, I think, in this one. I think it's for Xenomorph. I'm not really scared of the Xenomorph. I'm afraid of the face huggers who did not make this bracket. I do want to say there's a difference here. So the Mimics and the way they get out style people and just like take them down so quickly and go, that I think in the environment of war, these are a great alien as well. So I'm thinking about their environment. So Xenomorphs on those really, deep, drippy ships fit perfectly.
Sweaty ships.
Yeah, and Mimics, they also have that environment. They also can do that stuff at the end of Tomorrow. As they're swimming through, there's a number of Mimics that just pop up out of nowhere. They have the same elements, but I think they're more ferocious to me. So that's what that I think gets to me. So I have to put my hat in the Mimics side of this for this particular matchup.
Are the Xenomorphs? Help me out here. A little bit of ignorance. The Xenomorphs are they a little bit more reclusive, like as a species?
Not necessarily. No, they're hive mentality. They're really about breeding as fast as possible. They're insects. They're like locusts. So the goal is like we don't really know like how long they like live, their life cycle. I mean, maybe someone knows that, listener knows like the actual like in canon date of their life cycles, but basically they're locusts trying to breed and trying, like that's what they're doing when they're killing. They're trying to feed and essentially make more xenomorph babies. So
Yeah. It doesn't matter what their host is. They always adapt and evolve from the base host. Like Xenodogs is a good example of that. They don't really care as long as that one element continues on. I don't know what that is. And obviously that they're just keep making more movies to try to bait that in front of us as if we're going to actually figure that out. Yeah, I wouldn't call them reclusive. I think it's just the environments that they've been on work like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I am so close to mimics here, but it feels sacrilege not to say xenomorph too, you know, like not picking the blue bud to win in the first round. You know?
It's like Duke has to go forward, like, of course.
No, they don't.
No.
I'm going to put my foot down and say mimics.
Okay, on principle.
So that, history knows exactly how I feel about this.
They fought well. They performed well. But they lost right at the end of the game.
Luke, are you Xenomorph? Are you team Xenomorph? What if I was team Mimic?
You can if you want to.
No, I gotta stay Xenomorph. I want the Mimics. Like honestly, like, gosh, I can't believe the committee did this to the Mimics. It's just not fair. They should be a 3 seed in this.
Okay. Noted. The committee noted. All right, now for another fun 5-4 matchup. The 4 seed is the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. These sentient beings have a singular goal to obliterate the human race. However, their radical devotion to the one true God might distract them from their strategy. And this is versus the number 5 Martian tripods from the War of the Worlds. Orson Welles' alien monsters cause panic in the hearts of radio listeners and Tom Cruise everywhere. And these dynamic stretch-forward aliens know how to take over a town with precision and speed. But these Martians don't have much endurance, especially in Earth's atmosphere. We have the Cylons versus the Martian tripods.
Okay, but what Cylons? Are we talking about 70 Cylons? Are we talking about 2000 Cylons? Are we talking about Africa Cylons? Or where are we at?
Okay, Zach. Okay, settle down. Take a breather.
I can't breathe. Are the
2000s.
ones that look like humans? Okay, we're talking about
2000 Cylons.
Okay, cool.
You can incorporate the ones that look like humans. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. That's more exciting to me. I think that, but also in the 2000s, the old 70s ones are just a earlier model from an earlier war in there.
Right. So you can
also bring
incorporate
the
it all.
70s ones.
Yeah.
Cool. As long as we can do that.
I know you were worried there.
I mean, when you compare these, I think the Martian tripod is a fun little tank that you can play with, and Tom Cruise can try to kill them, but I don't think that they can, because it's really Mother Earth that kills Martian tripods, which is a huge weakness in my opinion. Whereas like Cylons are the exact opposite. They are hyper adapt for the entire galaxy, essentially, for any type of environment, for any type of human environment. And there are 7 different human models as well. I think it's really hard to be like Martian tripods could in any way, shape, or form do anything other than just make some loud noises and stick their tentacles and things.
I think the Martian tripods, I'm gonna bat for them from a fear factor. We think about this genre. They are one of the earliest characters in this alien monster genre, so I have to give them credit for legacy. That in the radio format, they were terrifying people.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you think about the radio version of them, people thought this was freaking happening, man. They thought this was a news report.
However, to be fair, this is not. We're talking about movies and TV, so we are thinking about the Tom Cruise version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking about the I was actually thinking about the Scary Movie 4 version.
Okay. You can bring that one in, Mike, if you want to.
Did they play Karma Chameleon off of an iPod?
Yeah, iPod, yeah. It's so good.
What a reference. I love it so
I'm
much.
glad you guys know that reference.
Yeah.
I don't. Makes me so happy.
So I don't know what a Cylon is. Going to be totally honest. Battlestar Galactica, don't care, nerds. But
There it is.
My vote is on Martian Tripod.
He got us. We walked into that one.
Devil, you know, is the devil.
Go play your football game, Mike. Go be a quarterback Friday
Your
night.
sports ball.
Yeah, we're gonna be at home watching 3 episodes of Battlestar Galactica back to back, and then
Look, picking the top monster from film and TV may have been the experience of a lifetime, but I don't want your life.
That's good.
They are a creepier. Both of these are silent monsters.
That's true. That's a good point.
They make noises, but I think what's iconic about Cylons is the swiping eye light on their head. I think you could. I don't know if Mike, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that idea of a scanning eye is something recognizable that probably like also borrows from like HAL and 2001 Space Odyssey, but like is something recognizable and creepy in its own way. Whereas like a Martian tripod, the sounds and the lights just aren't strong enough for me. I don't see that as like a strong enough character in a movie to be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I just want to hide from that thing. Whereas the Cylon, it just has an impersonation where it has a gravitas when it walks into a room, I feel like.
I like the Cylons because it's framed, at least in the 2000s version, it's framed that there's really no way this is going to go. Like, it really puts your human characters in an underdog mentality because the Cylons just seem unstoppable and uncontrollable from your human hero perspective. The Martians are really scary really quickly. I think the radio version tripods are probably scarier, but we technically can't bring them in. So I'm going to go with Cylons.
Whatever, nerds.
The Cylons. Move on. All right, on to our next matchup. We have the 3 seed and the 6 seed. It's going to get gooey. The number 3 seed is the Thing from The Thing. This thing from another world can inhabit and adapt its shape with any living organism. However, this alien parasite doesn't show up for games until the 4th quarter when it's truly threatened. The number 6 seed is the Blob from The Blob. It's big, it's gooey, and it moves like molasses. The Blob uses its size to overwhelm opponents, but lacks maneuverability and quickness. The Thing from The Thing and the Blob from The Blob in our next matchup. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's quite a sight visually, this matchup. Not the best looking jerseys, I would say.
No. Have you watched these movies, Mike?
No.
Oh, dude. Highly recommend both of them for spooky Halloween viewing. The Thing is a really good one for Halloween or winter time.
It's my favorite January movie. It is.
Yeah.
It is the horror monster representation of living in the Midwest in the winter.
It's the solstice movie of our generation. I think it's like this weird cozy horror to it at the same time sometimes because it's just always tense. And it's easy to sit back in that. But same with the Blob because it's moving so slowly.
That's the existential dread you just like constantly live with.
And it goes after small town America, right? It's like small town America is being attacked. It's really good. I think those two aspects. Again, this is a tough matchup, but it's an easy win for me, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it's got to be that. Plus, trump card on this is like also the main character could also be the Thing, and you just don't know. Like that's the big thing. The big thing there as well.
That's the big thing with the Thing on Least Important Things.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's why it wins. Mike, sorry if you haven't seen these, but
you gotta watch the Thing at least.
You gotta watch the Thing at least.
The Blob might be too slow for you, but the Thing is like, yeah.
It gets you everything you want. It's lean and mean.
Slaps.
All right, we're moving on to our last matchup on the eastern side of the bracket. The number 7 seed, the Death Angels from A Quiet Place. Shh. The Death Angels are hypersensitive to noise, requiring opposition to do a silent snap count. versus the number 2 seed, the Daleks from Doctor Who. Exterminate, exterminate. One of the Doctor's greatest foes is violent, merciless, and pitiless cyborg aliens, completely devoid of any emotion other than hate. However, their mobility is in question on tough terrain. Number 7 versus number 2. Different type of creatures, however. They're very different from two different types of a newer franchise, a newer type of monster versus an old classic. This is your Duke seed. This is your Duke number 2 seed.
Really? Because I think that these things are pushovers compared to the Death Angels. Look, man, I think one of the things that makes the Death Angels so scary from a human perspective is you never know, were you too loud? Was that
That's
just
right.
a little too loud?
As one who's watched a lot of Doctor Who, you can't really take the Daleks seriously until you watch a lot of Doctor Who. Like, even if you watch one episode, you're like, these things are ridiculous. But there's like it's an inherited fear to that.
Right. Yeah,
character.
It's commensurate, built over generation to generation.
Yeah, because like inside of there is just a little tentatively octopus that is just moving it around like a RC car. That sounds scary to you?
No.
Damn. It also has that plunger is actually a laser, I think.
Mike, really quickly, watch every Doctor Who episode and then come back, and then you'll have a good
Aren't there
perspective
like
on it.
60 seasons of this thing?
Yeah, there it is. They can
Yeah.
fly.
There's a new Doctor every season or something?
Every couple.
Every couple of years, it changes. The thing I do have to say is the Doctor is an alien itself, which I think takes a little bit of away. There's always a human character with the Doctor, but correct me if I'm wrong, Zach.
No, you're right.
Okay, wow.
So far,
I don't want to
tread lightly, or I will explode.
Be careful with the words that I say. That's where it takes it away a little bit, because we always know the Doctor is going to save us. Even though it's still great. I'm not saying that the show isn't great, but I think that's a little bit different, where the Death Angels were so unique because there wasn't a hero that was there to save you. It's just survival.
For me, it's Death Angels, and it's not close.
Okay.
Heck,
I put you in a bad position, Zach, to defend Doctor Who.
Does this podcast release in the UK?
It does. It's possible. I don't know how many UK listeners we have. We do have some Australian listeners. Shout out.
We have we're huge in Germany.
Huge in Germany, yes. Huge in Germany.
I think that it's got to go to the Death Angels, and I'm sorry to everybody from Australia that's listening to us right now.
Wow. Yeah, it's a bad matchup. It's a bad matchup.
It's just they're not gonna. It just doesn't fit well.
I'm not scared of these things. Look at these little tin boxes, man.
Oh no, it's hard to describe. It's so hard to describe why to be scared.
Zach, is there another Doctor Who alien monster that you think would be more terrifying?
The Weeping Angels and the Death Angels would actually. Mike, let me pitch this to you. So a monster that looks like a statue when you look at it, but when you look away, that's when that monster is able to move.
But here's the thing. I deal with that every Thursday night in downtown Holland. There's a guy who paints himself gold and does that.
And then when he touches you.
He doesn't try to touch you. I hope not.
When this monster touches you, you get sent back in time to nowhere, and then you're erased from the timeline.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Is that bad?
And Mike's like, sounds good. I'd like to be erased from the timeline.
What if I had crippling debt?
Wasn't great.
Yeah.
Well, you could get sent back to the Middle Ages and become like a serf, being serfdom to some lord.
That's pretty good. I feel like that would have been a better selection here. I just went with more of the popular monster.
But the Daleks are the ones that
if they're so great, why does the Doctor keep beating them?
It's one of those things where if you beat them, then you're erasing an entire race of people and kind of thing. And it's a PG protagonist.
We need a spin-off podcast. Zach explains Doctor Who to Mike.
That is actually incredible. If you want 300 episodes of that, just let us know. We can make it happen.
You know what? No, I'm saying Daleks. I'll say Daleks because there's just an inherent fear to them. It's this fear of
Fear of people sending you hate mail. Is that what it is, Zach?
Fear of that. Your three for your listeners that probably are going to get mad at this, but like this fear of a greater entity trying to take over and literally exterminate the human race or exterminate all without prejudice and without any care or anything like that. A lack of remorse for any other type of living being. I think that's something that rattles around in that tin cage of the Daleks that, like, for viewers, that is just something that carries with you. I have to save Daleks. I can't go against like what I know and what I love.
You know what? It causes great fear. Branding over time. And the Daleks win for me because they are a name brand that has been around for decades and decades, and people know when they hear exterminate, they know exactly where it's from, and that fear is it gives it power.
It's not gonna. They don't have legs. They're not gonna make it much farther, especially looking at who they're gonna be playing next, Mike. But I think I need to see them go slowly move. Scoot.
Mike is furious at the committee. He's furious.
I'm watching a video titled "The Daleks Being Iconic for 15
he's
straight
getting
minutes."
He's getting sucked in. He's gonna get sucked in though. He could get sucked in.
This thing's in the stairwell. How's it gonna climb up the stairs?
Stop. We got to move forward. Moving on to the next round, the Elite Eight. We have our next matchup. We have the number 1 seed versus the number 5 seed, the Predator versus the Arachnids.
This is hard because you're doing a swarm versus a hunter.
Yeah.
We did that already with the Harvesters.
Yeah.
It's Predator for me.
Same.
Let's move on Predator. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much more tape of the Predator too. We just know like what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good point. Lots of tape. Lots of good quality tape out there. All right. Up next, we have the two upsets, the number 6 and number 7 seed, the Pod People versus the Clover. Interesting matchup, gentlemen. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Clover is horrifying, but it's really just the scale of the disaster it causes that's horrifying.
Right. I honestly feel like the Clover's like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, why is there all these buildings here? Can you please move these buildings? Why are you shooting at me? Like, I want to just not be here.
The misunderstood.
I think it's misunderstood. As someone who also has long, strange limbs that cause him to run into things, to stub his toe and hurt his knees, I have a lot of sympathy for the Clover. So I don't really feel fear. I feel camaraderie. I feel his pain, actually.
You're right. It is just a scared little monster taking out New York.
Yeah. This is tough.
Yeah. I think it's Pod People for me. That fear of being infiltrated, taken over by something not you or your friends, and like that idea of just being isolated as being the only human left, or in your friend group being the only human left, or in society. It's contagious.
Literally. Yeah. Shout out to Audrey. She hates any kind of mold. Like, if there's a sight of mold or anything, she thinks we're going to die and immediately attacks it with Clorox. And so I think even just the fear of like spores and those kind of, that being the alien is terrifying to me. I'm going to go Pod People. Mike, do you have a vote here?
No. Probably the Pod People.
Okay. I'm glad you're catching up on your Doctor Who.
What do you think the Clover, if it could speak, what would its voice be, though? Really quick.
Hey, guys. No, it'd be lower than that. It'd be like, hey, guys. What are all these buildings here? I'm uncomfortable.
I think it'd be higher. It's Statue of Liberty.
Hey, guys. What are you doing?
it's a South Park character.
All right. Ooh, guys, this is a heck of a matchup. Who, the number 4 seed versus the number 1 seed. I mean, this is the ratings gold. This is huge. The number 1 seed, the Xenomorph, versus the number 4 seed, the Cylons. Wow. Toughest matchup yet. I don't know. This is a coin flip for me.
Truly. I think so. I'm going to try and extract myself from Battlestar Galactica for a moment and just look at these two. I'm thinking matchup. Like, I know we're not really supposed to do that, but in a fight, a Xenomorph's going to win.
Yep. That poisonous saliva. Acid
Saliva, the tail. It's a much more nimble bunch.
I know there's flesh-based Cylons, but this is gonna sound weird. The wetness of the xenomorph as a monster, I think just like the gooey grossness of the xenomorph for me takes it to the next level.
I think just the word impregnate is scary enough for me.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
I know we're not talking about the face huggers, but I mean, yeah, them coming out.
But it begets that, you know?
That's when they were born, yeah.
Yeah, I think, because once you know the 7 base Cylon models, you kind of get it. After the first 8 episodes, you're like, oh yeah, that's number 8. Oh, that's number 2. Xenomorphs still have its ability to camouflage itself in the shadows and stuff. It runs laps around the Cylons. I hate to say it.
Oh, that was hard for you to say. I'm proud of you for saying that. All right, the Xeno moves forward. All right,
guys,
here we go.
This next one's so easy. Come on, this is.
You haven't seen either of these things.
But if we're talking about, so it's the matchup is the Thing versus the Daleks, whatever. And if we're just talking about what's scarier for a human, I mean, like the Daleks will kill you, sure, yeah, cool, whatever.
Exterminate is the term.
The Thing is like constant paranoia.
It is. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
When you look at complexity of names alone, like they invented a new word for a character and then they invented still, I mean, 1 point for the Daleks there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the Daleks were for creativity. We'll go there. I think from a branding standpoint, for me, the Thing is up there as far as like well known from a naming standpoint. Visually, not so much. It doesn't have a catchphrase, so it's not there. But I'm going back to the gross factor of the Thing, how it morphs, and again,
you just know Luke is not going to pick against John Carpenter. There's just no.
It's going to be hard for me to. It's going to be hard, so I'm going to do the Thing as well.
Yeah, it's the Thing. Yeah, the Thing doesn't just destroy; it manipulates. It creates a grotesque version of something. And I think that's much creepier, much more thrilling than a Dalek, which just shoots you with the plunger. It isn't the plunger that has the laser. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. You don't need to apologize.
Yeah. So, Mike, you don't have to research anymore if you don't want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Good.
It's like, all right. We have our final 4. We have the Xenomorph, the 1 seed, the Thing, the 3 seed, the Pod People, the surprise run of the tournament at the 6 seed, and the Predator at the 1 seed.
The classics.
This is good. This is good. See, here's the deal. I know you were upset with the committee about the seeding, but in the end, people want the classics in the final 4. They don't want randos like the mimics or the Death Angels in there. They want the big famous brands in there. They want the big hitters. Okay, let's move on to the first semifinal. We have the Predator versus the Pod People.
I'm torn here. If my criteria is what's scarier between the two, to me, not necessarily them matched up against each other, right? Because I think in a matchup, the Predator's going to win here, right? It's got the technology to sort out.
It could probably figure it out.
Yeah, but what's scarier for me is the Pod People.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is hard because we're going to like the best alien monster. And like, I love the Predator. I'm not scared of the Predator. I'm really excited for this new Predator movie because they're like, we're getting rid of the human factor and we're just going to focus. That's why I like Prey as well, because it was kind of this conversation between two characters. So it's hard for me because the Predator is my favorite alien creature by far. When I think about fear factor, the Pod People are horrifying and feel like really grounded, even though it's science fiction. It feels really grounded. Like it could happen. Like that's probably what would happen.
And in a world where, say, the Pod People were hunted by the Predator, I feel like the Pod People would out-creepy the Predator no matter what, because they're just all around you. And I think in those, the Predators are only creepy in certain environments. Like in Predator 2,
concrete jungle doesn't work for them. Whereas pod people, that concept, it can work anywhere on the Earth, anywhere on the planet. I think that kind of puts pod people up there for me above Predator.
I agree. The pod people move on to the finals. The big Cinderella story moves all the way to the final. This is a little Carl for those who didn't know what happened to be there. Okay, Carl from Caddyshack. All right, the other semifinal. Another mouth-watering, scintillating, spine-chilling matchup. The Xenomorph versus the Thing.
Yeah, this is hard because both of these do very similar function, or have very similar functions in their movie.
From a creepy tension building standpoint.
They're both the epitome of horror sci-fi. And I think that's really where it's tough for me. Both have infiltrated or impregnated dogs. That
is true. They actually both lose points for that standpoint.
Similar opponents.
Yes, similar opponents.
Common opponents. Good comps. Yeah.
Both both create hybrids of themselves, of their version of their alien species as dogs too.
Yes, that's true.
Both are pretty wet in their own ways. One's in cold wet. One's in wet. Spaceship wet.
What is wet? Can we start a new? Can we take this off to a different podcast for a second? What is wet?
Wet is when everything is wet all around you, but it's not underwater.
It's a technical term.
Truly. Whereas the Thing is all snow and cold and stuff. I think there's that aspect. Both fire. Don't like fire, if I recall.
That's true. Man, this is a really even matchup.
Yeah.
From all aspects of fear, both 70s, 80s sci-fi horror that really changed the game in both their specific ways.
Yeah. This is definitely a nice night, well-programmed primetime game. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. Oh, definitely. Because I feel like Weyland-Yutani, if they knew the Thing was a thing, they would try to find the Thing and exploit it. Like, definitely.
Truly, yeah.
So here's how I see it. The Xenomorph makes your body its playground, but the Thing makes your mind a prison.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
And so that's why I'm picking the Thing.
That alone, I think, kind of pushes it in a good direction for me because of the psychosis of that movie. Like, the mind is a prison in that movie for sure. You can't trust anyone or anything. Whereas you just can't trust the shadows in Alien. Also, you can't trust that the end bad alien is going to be a good one. So, whereas the Thing, it ends up, Kurt Russell might be it. It could be any of the other awesome cast of characters in that movie. I think it's the Thing for me as well.
The Thing moves to the finals.
What have we done to ourselves?
This is what people want here. They're coming for variety. There already has been an AVP movie. We already saw that. This is not just a cage match WWE, as much as I love that. That's not what this is. It's more subtle of a tournament. Everyone can see the AVP in AVP Requiem if they want to see the battle play out on the screen. This is more nuanced. This is what we're doing. All right. What a matchup for the final. We have the Cinderella story, the pod people, the 6th seed, making it all the way to the final. They beat the Borg, the higher seed. They beat the Clover. They beat the Predator to get to the final. And the Thing at the number 3 seed beat the Blob. It beat the Daleks. And it beat the Xenomorph. Wow, what a run for both these teams. Congratulations to both. But there has to be one winner. Gentlemen, who is that one winner for you?
It's the exact same thing, like they do the same thing.
They're almost the same.
Just like in every championship, right? Their strengths are going to cancel each other out. It's who's going to win in the margins.
The margins, yes.
So here's the thing. I'm not saying this is my vote yet, but here's a consideration for the Thing. It's grotesque, that it's got this grossness to it, but is that enough to outweigh? Is the fear of being grossed out or looking at something grotesque, does that outweigh the mental anguish of not even knowing if you've lost?
Wow.
Mike, you flipped it on its head there.
That was
Man.
great.
And that's the hard thing is I look at these things and I'm staring into the abyss of fear in two very different ways, like the body horror of it all, or that fear of being assimilated, and just becoming one of a herd.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part here, and it's really up to preference and where we are as people in a society of what we're doing now and what our greatest fears are. And I think it's body snatchers for me. Just putting it into perspective the way that Mike did. I think that's hard. Both of them are snatch bodies, but one, you just become one of them. And I think that's the ultimate fear, to be lost in the group,
Pod people, vote for Zach. Where's Mike?
Here's what I'm worried about. That by Zach choosing
don't.
That if I choose the pod people, that I have actually been assimilated, and that I am now like I didn't even know that I assimilated myself or that they assimilated.
That's right. That's right.
What do I do here?
Have you guys both become pod people?
Oh my gosh.
Wait.
This draft has been assimilated by the pod people.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Just my fear, incarnate in this exact moment though. This guys, I think what we gotta do, Mike, is we gotta leave this up to our host.
Ooh, yeah. So
all right, yeah, this is tough because I was thinking about the title. We have The Thing, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, both great titles. You can also bring in the original Thing is the Thing from Another World, so also fantastic title. It's interesting that both these technically aren't physical standalone monsters. Like that's not what I thought going into this draft. You think about like the Xenomorph or the Rancor, like any of those as just like standalone like creature monsters. Yeah. But it's actually the more subtle ones, the ones that invade your mind and your body, are the ones that made it to the final. And I think that's why this is such an intriguing matchup. I'm gonna go back to like branding, and I think The Invasion of the Body Snatchers is an amazing film, legendary film, but I think The Thing, which just came not too long after in the next decade, is such an iconic piece of property that John Carpenter created. That
I write it down and be like, I know Luke's just gonna pick John Carpenter.
It's slightly, for me, it slightly gets ahead, but I could go either way depending on the day, because honestly, whatever movie I watched the latest would maybe win. So that's why they're pound for pound, right neck and neck. But if I had no other choice, I would say The Thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a worthy champion.
The Thing is the winner of the 2025 Least Important Things Alien Monster Tournament. Sha-da-da-da-da-da.
One shining moment.
The ball is
yeah.
there you are. You're running for your life.
In one shining moment, it's all on the line. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for going through this rigorous tournament. I think it was tough. We had some tough matchups, but you were brave and you both faced your fears, faced these alien monsters, and we picked a winner. The Thing is the winner. Last words from my correspondents, from my panelists. Zach, how do you feel about the end of the tournament?
I'm super satisfied with the deliberations that we were able to have. I'm happy that I was able to champion some of my favorites through this tournament as well and see them succeed in some ways. I think with a little bit more education, this would have changed a little differently if I didn't feel obligated to try to inform on some of these that are maybe a little bit more niche. But still at the same time, I think no matter what, we would have seen a similar end result no matter what. And Mike, I think you should watch The Thing this season and maybe our viewers just revisit it because it is a good movie. And it still hits. It's just like The Mummy. It's just still great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you, Zach. And thanks for taking that Weyland-Yutani spaceship ride. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I survived. I was the only one, but it was crew of 80. But
have you taken any Tums lately, or having any stomach pain?
You know what? I've been drinking water this last hour and a half, and nothing's.
Oh God. Okay. Or Zach will join us. Maybe never, or next time in a different form. Mike, your closing thoughts.
Yeah, this went way different than I expected. I kind of expected a chalk final here. And we didn't get that. And I think that kind of shows that we thought critically about this. And that I think most importantly, committee was wrong. Committee was wrong about the Mimics. The Mimics were hard done in this tournament. If they had been seated properly, maybe, and if the Mimics had gotten a matchup against either the Pod People or the Thing, it's possible they would have won.
Wow. Hot take and a great finishing note as we go to commercial. We'll see you next year. Tournament time. Gentlemen, thanks again for joining us. Thank you, listeners, viewers, for going along this ride. You can see the tournament in all its glory and the bracket in all its glory. Check that out on Patreon. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon on Least Important Things.